got me stranded like a branch in the wind. Tell me what you long for. Oh, I won't watch you.
After the last episode, now you understand a little bit why the decision has been made for us that WildChild has to sail 350 nautical miles to Florida and back. Last episode, we made a nice and easy jump from Marsh Harbor, where we anchored by Dhalia's Rock overnight. We are waiting for ocean conditions to be safe to jump out the Whale Cay Cut, get out into the ocean, and then back in to go to Green Turtle Cay today. And now WildChild is at anchor. We are safe, we are happy, we are on the leeward side of this here island. We have just the rock nut anchor, single anchor, we didn't put a sentinel. The waters are calm. Sky is blue, it's warm, it's not too hot. Life is good. Yeah, so I don't know if I showed you guys earlier, but Alina and I replaced the bow roller a couple of days ago and it disintegrated. We no longer have a bow roller. The rubber fell apart. It just crushed and crumbled and it's all gone now. So now we're just running the chain on the pole, so I don't know, I'm really annoyed. Like, that anchorage in North Carolina with the 50 knots of wind that ripped my bow roller apart. We had a nice aluminum bow roller that was just perfect and lasted for years and years and years until we ripped it apart and lost it in the water. We've been making temporary replacements with those rubber ones, but they're not tough, they're not strong, and they don't hold. So we just a week ago put a new one on and now it's destroyed already. So I wish I could get like an aluminum bow roller that was the right distance, but oh well, I guess we're gonna have to replace it again. Sorry, ask the question again. What?
To believe the main traveler like that and
to center, yeah. Actually, you know what we do sometimes? Why don't we just put the boom to the port side? Or no, to the starboard side. Bring the main traveler to starboard, so that way the boom isn't here. Look, where I could hit my head, we're just gonna put the boom over to there. Over to the starboard side. It's 6:18 a.m. on April 18th. It's Wednesday. The crew of WildChild's waking up early because we have to make it out the cut, the Whale Cay Cut, go out into the ocean and then cut back in between the reefs so we can get in closer to Green Turtle Cay. We're going to Green Turtle today. It's not a long sail, it's only 18 miles or something, or 16 miles I think. It shouldn't be a hard sail, but getting through the cuts, you have to do them when the ocean isn't too swelly, otherwise the swells break through the cuts and it gets rather rough. So we want to get there, we want to be through both cuts by 9 o'clock. At 7 a.m. is high tide and then the tide starts to fall. By 9 a.m. we still have a fair amount of tide, and then by noon we're at low tide, so we definitely don't want to be going through the cuts at low tide. As the first glimmer of dawn comes over the horizon, the crew of WildChild has to wake up and get ready. And our German crew is not exactly a morning person, so we dare to go into the cave and wake her up. Alright, what point of sail are we on? That's the tack. What's the point of sail? The wind is back there.
Oh, okay. That's
Sailing vessel 9116 reporting an E-vessel has missed your whale queue passage this morning. 9116.
So do we need that to be really tight? We're headed for the Whale Cay Cuts, and things are calm inside the Sea of Abaco, but I can hear the ocean pounding the outside. And as we look ahead between that island and the mainland, there are breakers. It is breaking. Like, WildChild's a big tough tank. Like, she can take a beating better than the crew can. This will be Alina's first sight of 3-foot waves. If they're 3-footers, fine, I'm not worried at all. If they're 4, it's gonna be a bit rough. If they're steep 4 and they're breaking, like they're curling over, that'll be pretty rough. So right now we're sailing with only the Jenny, and we're in a broad reach running winds, but as we come around, the wind's gonna come to the nose. I don't wanna risk having the mainsail up. I don't wanna risk having the mainsail up when we try to get out the quay, because we're gonna have to turn into the wind, and they're narrow, like you only got 100 feet to go. You can't maneuver in there. So we will probably motor through both cuts, depending on the wind state, because we have zero maneuverability, like we have zero room to maneuver, so we have to be very careful. So right now, WildChild is happy. We're like 8 over 3.3, 8 over 4, just full Jenny. We're just running. We got 5 miles to go to get to the cut. And then hopefully it's not too rough. We will put the motor on and motor assist through so we have control as to where we're going. I don't want to be helplessly slipping sideways or drifting. And then it's only, I don't know, like 1 mile or 2 miles, like to go out, come along Whale Cay, and then come back in, and then we're back in the calm, happy Sea of Abaco by Green Turtle. But we don't want to have a rough time, we want to have a nice time. Stuff like this never feels good, so the chart plotter says that there's all these marks around the shallows for the beginning of the entrance, and that we're going to run over 2 mooring balls. The mooring balls aren't there. These are not colored marks, they're sticks in the water. Some of the sticks are broken off and not in the correct location, so they're sticking up a foot under the surface of the water like spears. So sometimes navigating in the Bahamas is like a bit of a guessy kind of thing to do. So that's supposed to be a green marker. It's not a green marker, it's just a post. So I've got Alina taking watch on the port side. She's looking ahead for these stakes, because with the Jenny out and visibility not being great on a sailboat, we have to make sure that we stay very in the center of the sticks and not near where any of them could have ever been placed and broken off. We're kind of coming out now into the open ocean, and we have a gentle, like 2-foot swell, sometimes a 3-foot swell. But it's Alina's first time in ocean swell, her first time feeling it in the pit of her stomach, it's a weird feeling in your stomach as you're kind of rolling around, isn't it? Like it feels a little different.
Yeah.
She's a quiet one. This one's really camera shy and hardly talks at all. Tell people, what does it feel like to be rolling an ocean swell?
Well, it's rolly.
But how does it feel in your stomach?
Well, up until now, fine. I don't know how worse it's gonna be when we get out a little further. But
can you feel all your muscles are flexing to keep your body up now? You're starting to flex to hold your balance. For viewers, how I tell you that waves never show up on camera, but I have learned that if you zoom in a little bit and look ahead, you can kind of see the sky bouncing around. And that's sort of the best way I've ever found to show the motion of the boat and the waves, is to zoom in and show the horizon. And you can see there's a boat ahead coming towards us. I think that might be sailing shoes that we called on the radio to ask him about conditions. He said 3 to 4 foot roll, and I would say 3 foot roll for sure, probably not 4. Our passage out and back in the Whale Key Cut went just fine that morning. The tidal currents were relatively calm and the ocean swell was gentle. Elena did really well for her first time in ocean swell. Oh, some of these might be 4s. These are mostly 3s. The occasional 4. Ooh. Oh, that was pretty sexy. He's motoring. He's going kind of full blast. When you're in the cuts though, you just kind of want to get through it. You just want to get in. We're still motor sailing, mostly for ease and comfort. But as well, we'll be back in the next cut within a mile, and I'm not sure of Elena's sailing skills to handle things if they go bad in a hurry. Does she know how to respond properly in an emergency on her third sail? Yeah, I know that I'm motor sailing, and you guys know that I give pretend sailors a very hard time. We have 1 mile left to go, and I'm motor sailing. The winds are good. We actually could sail this, and like 2 experienced good crew could sail this easily. We have 1 mile to go. The reason that I'm motor sailing, and you saw, we're 10 over 5. The wind angle's at 148. We're broad reach, port tack or starboard tack, and we'll have a running wind to get back into the Whale Cut channel. But the Whale Cut channel is pretty narrow and it's completely unmarked. It's maybe 100 feet wide, and you really can't get that wrong. So I wanted to motor sail because I have more control over the boat to very precisely line it up for the dead center of the narrow channel to run us through. Once we run through back inside, I'll kill the motor and we'll go back to sailing. But while we're exposed out in the ocean here before the tide comes down, I wanted to keep the speed up to get in as soon as possible and to narrowly navigate the cut, like to get through the cut. And then once we're back inside the cut, we'll turn off the engine and we'll go back to sailing so I can get my sailor badge back. And right now I'm a pretend sailor because I'm motor sailing, so that's not real sailing. So I know it's a little bit shameful, especially for me, because you guys know, what was that? Oh, I think that was the dinghy. So WildChild just lined up perfectly to come exactly through the Whale Cut Key, and now we're kind of inside again, and we didn't hit any rocks, so we're happy. And now that we're getting into deeper water, just so you guys, I told you that once we got inside, I would kill the motor and we'd switch back to sailing. So we are 12 over 5. Wind angle 150 degrees. Yeah, Alina, if you don't mind, we're gonna kill the engine. Engine down. Wait. We gotta go engine down. Engine to neutral. Okay, kill the engine. And then we go transmission forward. And now WildChild, the purist, Captain Lexi, the sailing purist, is back to sailing happily. Because I have sea room now to maneuver. Like if we need to jibe or tack or furl sails or trust the autopilot, we have room to do that and we're not confined. And I mean, we're still fine. We're 12 over 4.4. We're inside. We got all the time in the world. We only got 10 more miles to Green Turtle Cay. We'll be there before lunch. All in all, like, not a bad, well, I would even say a good. That was a good, easy passage. We're still rolling because we're not protected. We're not protected by any islands yet, so the ocean swell is still rolling its way in. But I'm gonna go 20 degrees to starboard. But we're okay. Just, we don't want to hit that rock there. One rock, bam, right in the middle. It's kind of where we gotta go to, because we gotta get around these. We gotta go inside those. It's like exactly in our way. So you know what, let's go 10 degrees to port. And what we'll do is we'll go around and then we'll curve like that, so we don't hit the rock. Sorry guys that I can't always show you all the sailing stuff, because like I'm really busy and then Elena's new and learning, so I have to do the boat and I have to look after her and I have to look after the helm and I have to look after sail angles and waves and stuff. But what you just missed is that we turned the motor on, we came to windward to raise the mainsail, because with just the Jenny we were only doing like 8 over 3 or 8 over 2.8, a little slow. So I said, hey, like, let's raise the main. But when your Jenny's already out and you're trying to raise the main, it's often really hard, like it doesn't go well. So we tried to come to windward with the Jenny out, but the Jenny was just kept backwinding and throwing the autopilot off, so it couldn't hold a steady course upwind. So no, forget this. So we ran off, we went downwind, furled the Jenny to get out of the way, came back upwind, raised the main really quickly, and I was up on the mast pulling, and Elena was back here doing the halyard from the winch. So now that we've set the mainsail up, we turned off the engine, we turned back downwind, turned off the engine, we're sailing on main, and now it's easy to throw the Jenny after the main is already up. So I will try to show you Elena throwing the Jenny.
Serious? Captain Lexi, you're a silly, silly girl.
So it's going to pull out to the port side because we're on starboard broad reach. So what you're going to do is the furling line, you're going to lay it on the ground behind you so that's not tangled and it can just kind of feed itself through. And then as you're pulling the Jenny, the portside Jenny sheet, eventually the wind will start to catch the sail and the sail's just going to open itself, and then you just get it in. And I'll control the high side so that the starboard Jenny sheet doesn't get tangled on anything on deck for you. Okie dokie. See if I can do this one-handed. Alright, so unlock the furling. Okay, so that furling line can go freely if it wants to now, right? Okay, so now start pulling your Jenny sheet and let's unfurl the Jenny. Go.
Like this one?
Yes, Jenny sheet, pull. No, you're still locked. Your furling line is locked. Unlock the furling line. Hold on. Sorry. Just so our viewers can kind of make fun of you for this. So the furling line comes back, and I told you to unlock the furling line.
Yeah, I did, but it went back.
Okay, so, and this can't be tight. This has to be, it has to be able to feed loose. So now that we've unlocked the furling line, now we can unfurl the Jenny. Go ahead.
Who says girls cannot sail?